It's time for the one and the only show. It's the Luke Howard Show Live. Thank you so much. Oh wow, round of applause. Thank you very much. Here we are then, morning all, it's Thursday the 23rd of April 2020, which is otherwise known as St George's Day. It's a very special day today, so if you are celebrating St George's Day, I hope it goes well. So it used to be a national holiday in England, but it's not anymore. Businesses are open, businesses won't be open as usual, will they? But it's a celebration that we all used to celebrate. But flags with the image of St George's crosses are flown on some buildings, though. With pubs, a few people wear a red rose on their lapel, or church services on the Sunday that's closest to April the 23rd. They often include the hymn Jerusalem, which is from this day, and of course the poet William Blake. The words describe a supposed visit to Glastonbury, England, by Jesus Christ during this youth. So public life. April the 23rd is not a public holiday. Schools, stores, post offices, businesses and other organisations are open as usual, but public transport services run to their usual timetables as well. So St George was born on some time around the year 280, and it was in Turkey. And he was a soldier, and he rose up through the ranks of the Roman army, eventually becoming a personal guard to the Emperor Diocletian. He was executed for being a Christian on April the 23rd, 303. Blimey, that was years ago. And he's buried in the town of Lod in Israel. You can still go and see him, people. He's still in the under there, his thing. So St George is most widely known for staying as a dragon. I thought that was St David's Day, but apparently it's in England as well. Apparently this is according to the legend himself. The only way in the town of Silence was guarded by a dragon in order to get water. The inhabitants of the town had to offer a human sacrifice every day to the dragon. The person is to be sacrificed and was chosen by lots on the day that St George's did it as well, and visiting. A princess had been selected to be sacrificed as well. However, he killed the dragon and saved the princess and gave the people of Silence access to water. In gratitude, they converted to Christianity. It is thought that the dragon represents a certain type of pagan belief, and that included in the sacrifice of human beings. St George's Day was once celebrated as widely as Christmas, but the celebration waned for its end of the 18th century after England and the United and Scotland on May the 1st, 1707. In recent times, there has been a push involving campaigners and pensioners to make the day a public holiday in England. Now, the St George is a patron saint of a number of other places such as Bulgaria, Ethiopia, Georgia, Greece, Portugal and Russia. Now, it's also remembered in some regional holidays, such as in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada, and among the Goronal, and were converted to Islam many centuries ago, but still observed at St George's Day around the world. A number of days are devoted to St George, including April the 23rd and dates in November and December. Now, the symbols our most widely recognised symbol of St George's Day is the St George Cross, in other words, which is the red cross of the England flag, I suppose, and which is often displayed as a flag and is used as England's national flag, forming part of the Union flag. The national flag of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and St George's Cross was originally the flag of Maritime Republic of Grona. And around 1190, the King of England started playing the Judge of Grona to protect ships original from the city of London and the rest of England that sailed into the Mediterranean. So we're going to leave that story there, and it's been going all these years, a lot. It's been going a lot at this moment. So I thought it was, yeah. So we'll leave that one there, and to say that today is St George's Day, and if you are celebrating it, enjoy. If you're not, who knows? So if you are celebrating it, enjoy. Now, speaking of the day Thursday, it is Thursday today, which doesn't just mean St George's Day, it also means that at tonight, 8 o'clock, as usual, every Thursday, we all go outside our houses and we all clap for the NHS. Myself included, of course. Me and my family and our neighbours, we all go outside and we all go and have a little clap in our bit. So, once the crisis is under control, the Queen and government must reflect on making a significant gesture of thanks towards the NHS. Now, within days of winning his fight for life, Boris Johnson described the health service as the country's greatest national asset. He said, it's my response, and it was to write an open letter to the Prime Minister suggesting how the nation might show its huge gratitude when the time is right. He said, my belief is that for only the third time in 80 years, our monarch should betray the collective George Cross on the NHS. Like any controversial proposal, my suggestion got a mixed response. A former Labour councillor who does not share my political views emailed to say it was a fantastic idea, and a commentator said I was a generous. Others said that all NHS staff wanted was a pay rise and protective masks. Really? And that medals were worthless. Let me explain my thinking, he said. I am not saying that a medal be the collective is an intellective to looking after our NHS workers properly in terms of pay and equipment. It would be in addition to full-heartedly supporting and protecting them. I have long had a passion for bravery, largely because of my father's involvement in the 1944 D-Day landings. Really? Wow. But he's also saying that this has manufactured itself in the champion out heroes, military and civilian, building the world's largest collection of Victoria's crosses, which are on public display, and writing 6 books of encourage. Now, one book is called George Cross Heroes and highlights the award of the decoration to more than 160 replacements receipts. And since its creation by George IV in 1940, ranking decoration for bravery after the VC, it was created to acknowledge supreme bravery that, unlike the VC, did not take place in the heart of the battle. The decoration it rewarded for acts of the greatest heroism, of the most considerations, courage in circumstances of great danger in the Blitz, and it was awarded primarily to it had not been awarded for the variety of reasons. However, it is always to recognise that just service but real courage. By the time this crisis is over, scores of doctors, nurses and frontline workers will have given their lives to their patients. Thousands more will have risked survival. This involves, denying real bravery, and what I like to call, he said, cold courage, because rather than spur of the moment, gallantry at our frontline staff calmly assess that the dangers but do go into the battle northern less. I have met sources, now hundreds of gallantry medal recipients, that not one was considered. So each one has been taken immense pride, and that their monarch and country have recognised their bravery in a public and not lasting way. The first collective GC was made to Malta in 1942 following 2 years of blommaging. The second one is at the date final collective award that went to the Royal Ulster Constabulary in 1999 for bravery in the Troubles. I'm a regular visitor to Malta and have spoken to several former RUC officers, he said. This is who's saying this? Lord Ackrostrop is saying this. He's been spoken to several former RUC officers, and they also take immense pride in their collective award. He said, I can avert a situation later this year when all those who have stepped up to the plate in a major way that might also receive individual recognition for their service about the line of duty, but outside the traditional humans list. This could be a new award, perhaps called the COVID-19 Medal, similar to the Abril Medal for humanitarian work in Africa from 2014 to 2016. Now, the new medal might even have 2 levels, one for frontline staff who accommodate in the face of the new threat that, in the words of the PM, is a fight that we never picked against with ignominy and we still didn't entirely understand. A second level might be for other key workers, the police, social workers, of course, the police as well, and security staff, supermarket staff, cooks, drivers and cleaners who, through a stint of duty, have kept working despite the dangers. Now, when I wrote George Cross Heroes 10 years ago, I chose for the cover and a quotation from Theodotus, a quotation from the 5th century BC, and it read that the bravest are surely those who have the clearest version of what is before them, glory and danger alike, and yet nothing that this understand go out that we meet in. Now, the quote sums up my admiration for the NHS staff and other key workers. They are constantly involved in the life and death struggles, and not just for virus patients but for their own survival, that yet they confront these dangers head on. It is for the reason that their incredible coverage is not just their admirable adaptation of their job and must eventually to be recovered in a fasting and appropriate way. Now, Lord Ascot seek and be BBC, is an international businessman, fictionalist, author, and pollster. He has written 6 books on bravery, including George Cross Heroes, and you can see more at www.lordsackroncrofts.com, or you can find him on Twitter at Lord Ayrescroft. And our thoughts, of course, are with him in whatever he does. So there you go. So, hallelujah. One more story now, and we're talking about 24k legal aid, which is the Free Jihadi battle. Now, the mother of Beatles, Jihadi Shanfi Eskefi, has had £23,000 in legal aid to help him beat the death penalty. Now, the taxpayer cash-funded his legal challenge over sending her son to face justice in the US. Now, Eskefi, 31, and Alexandra Cotley, 36, both held by the US in Iraq, were among 4 British IS terrorists dubbed the Beatles, who beheaded Western hostages on video. Their lawyers now look certain to ensure that the pair will be sent to Generosity Bay Jail in Cuba rather than a death sentence. Freedom of information checks show Illign's mum, Masha Ikroji, who has £23,582 to pay for her case since October. Last month, the UK Supreme Court ruled the Home Office acted out of political expediency by shopping her son, the US authorities, and they said that the data protection laws should have stopped British ministers helping the US protect its pair. Now, Londoners Ikramfi and Coasty have been stripped of their UK citizenship, but Ikram's law years argue that this was illegal and that they had faced a British court. The gang also included Sirari John Mohammed and Ozi, killed in the 2015 drone strike, and Alina Davis, jailed in Turkey. The Henry Jackson Society think tank said that lawyers are lining their pockets for defining anti-British fundamentals, and that is a bit of a long story there. So so there you go, and that's what that one's about. One more story, just one more story. And we're talking about boat pairs sunk by flames in the sky. A couple were left scratching their heads after spotting a mystery flaming object sprawling through the sky. Now, Jerry Underwood, 55, saw the phenomenon while standing beside his canal boat at 8 p.m. He watched it fall slowly between between Irvine and 20 minutes before it all sank before 20 minutes at distant and trees. Jerry, who lives with her partner Melanie at Streamham, Cambridgeshire, said it looked like a short, skinny cloud, and I'm pretty sure that it wasn't a meteorite, and we're gone in seconds, and we've seen hundreds of shooting stars, but it definitely wasn't that. It was actually coming down very slowly and spiralling, and it started to glow. That flames coming out of the back, and the sheer size of it, that it wasn't got now. Now, there's one more story now that I want to talk about, and that's Saved by Alarm Fix. A family fled a fire at their home thanks to an alarm. Now, only hours after replacing its batteries, they fixed a device after a test that morning showed it wasn't working, and they were actually then alerted that immediately when the fire broke out in the airing cupboard upstairs. Now, okay, so firefighters brought the blaze under control in West Sussex on last Wednesday afternoon, and firefighter James with Edron said that they are not checked their smoke alarm. The outcome could have been much worse. However, the family will need a new one now as it melted in the blaze. One more. We'll do one more story, just one more. And a teenager is learning to ride a bike thanks to her new bionic hand. Amy Ashton, her name is, 14 years old she is, and she was born without a left hand, and she ended several failed NHS attempts to replace it. But just before Christmas last year, she was fitted with a hero arm, which actually picks up signals from muscles. Now, Amy can now ride a bike after watching Pals for years, and she said it has changed my life. And the arm from Bristol based Open Bionics, and was funded by donations. Now, Amy's mum, Samantha Thursky of Hull, added, "Getting this gift is a dream come true." Wow, absolutely amazing. We've got a tiny story now, and this is Fields of Brawn. One more, okay? We'll just do one more, and then we'll play some music. The UK's work ethic stems from its farming routes, which installed the idea that working hard news off, and researchers have found quite a lot of stuff from that story, and they're just basically saying that they've found a lot of fixed stems from the farming routes, and it's a very interesting story, that one. We've actually said a lot of stories, and we'll keep it up